So, topic 1. From Reddit, the topic is Excalibur's passive should include greatswords and sword and shields. While I understand wanting to keep the theme narrow, it kind of does a disservice to the whole Master of Swords theme he has going. Doesn't feel it would be OP to add a few more weapons that he can benefit from. There are 5 sword plus shield weapons in the game for F's sake. But oh no! Pause. Pause. Fine, we're good. Loz, we're good.
But I misclicked.
No, you're fine. So it doesn't feel like it would be too OP to add a few more weapons that he could benefit from. There are 5 swords and shield weapons in the game, for fuck's sake, and it would make him just a bit more viable.
Right, okay, well, just so in case anyone wants to know at home or the exact details of it, Excalibur has an improved mastery in Tenno Art of the Blade, receiving plus 10% attack speed and 10% damage bonuses, melee attacks while wielding the following weapons. Swords, such as the Skana, dual swords, such as the dual Skana, Nakanas, such as the Dragon Nakana, rapiers, such as the Destreza, and Exalted Blade. These additives are... the bonuses are additive to the mods such as Pressure Point and Fury. Additive. Okay, cool. So they want to add sword and shield into the mix of basically every other blade that's longer than a certain length, but not too.
Okay. It was swords and shields and greatswords.
And greatswords.
Yeah.
And great. Good math. Right.
In my opinion, I think thematically a sword and shield might work because he's shorter sword that kind of fits with the short Skana Nakana blade style they're going for. Shield is just kind of a defensive type they can use. I think it would work for that, but I can't quite agree with the greatsword, in my opinion. But
see, for me, it's the other way around. I'm fine.
Yeah? Really?
I'd be fine with the greatsword, but the sword and shield is what would feel off to me. Because, I mean, seeing as it's got the Nakana, so it's got the understanding of, like, two-handed component already. If it was just like, oh, it must be a sword in one hand. But when you've got a shield into the mix, you're going to completely change the way you fight and use that sword. Whereas if you've just got the sword or just nothing but sword, you've got all of that movement available to you. But with the shield, you know, you're quite limited in the directions and the movement you've got while still having that shield.
Yeah. I actually agree. Yeah, with the shield, it's a little slower, but I'm thinking more just the right hand with the blade swinging around. But I definitely can see your point as far as the slower shield.
Yeah.
But yeah, when I think of greatswords, maybe two-handed Nakana. I didn't see if his passive applies to the two-handed Nakana.
Oh, actually,
no,
it didn't.
No, it
actually,
doesn't.
no, it's just the one-handed Nakana.
Gotcha. I think two-handed Nakana could work for sure. Greatswords might be able to, but when I think greatsword, I think of the Gram or the Galatine, where these big, heavy, swinging blades that are not known for speed, but more for power. But I don't know. It's one of those weird topics where it can definitely go either way.
The other reason, by the way, I wouldn't want Sword and Shield to be in there is because I would love to see a proper Warframe that is built around the concept of a sword and a shield, or a shield. There's no... when they added shields to the game, I always hoped that they were going to do something different, but they really don't. There is the threat tanking mod, and I can't remember if it... I don't even require shields. It's like it just... The concept of a shield in the game is just so visual only. It doesn't really bring anything. It's just...
I know. I wish shields played a bigger role. And one of the, I've seen it discussed before too. I think a really cool weapon they could add would be a great shield one of these days. Or offensive shield, just a giant wall of metal that you can charge forward, smash enemies. Very offensive, but very defensive weapon as well. But maybe at the cost of speed. It's one of those where I've seen it suggested. I don't have like a that I've made of like, oh, how it could work or anything. But a great shield. Oh. And I saw someone suggest maybe where you could plant it down and defend an area similar to Atlas's wall for a short period of time. But yeah, I think that a shield or a more shield-focused type of weapon would be amazing to add into the game.
Yeah. Well, I think a shield, make the shields interesting, but also then make a warframe that's passive. Is that if you do even have a sword and shield, it is then boosted. That is the passive for this other warframe, rather than Excalibur swords. Make a warframe that has that kind of passive and that kind of built around it. Like say you put the shield down, you could have that as ability. It would just be so cool. But yeah,
that would be, because I think the only thing most shields have that's unique to them is what Sigma and Octanus, which you can throw.
Oh, yeah.
But that's all they've really got going for them at the moment. Other than that, they just like another type of sword.
Yeah. What do you think, Xeno?
I'm completely on board with what you're saying. I think a movement impairing effect on a great shield or a tower shield would be null and voided by bullet jumping. I think parkour would just subvert that. I think
yeah. And I didn't mean so much as like a movement penalty, but just more of a slower type of weapon.
Oh,
yeah, no,
right.
because I think the movement ability should be restricted to really heavy weapons, like the Arcwing weapons you can call in. There's some movement restrictions there, but they're kind of a special case, and you have to call them in. They're not part of your typical loadout. More of an optional thing. But
I think one I would like to see with the shield. So first off, it needs to have. I feel it needs to have support for secondaries, right? So much like how you can single sword, single pistol, I feel like you should be able to have that with the Great Shield as well. So Great Shield and a pistol, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Maybe it's a case of it's harder to aim in things, but I don't know. But one thing I'd like, while you have the tower shield on your back, take less damage from behind.
That would actually be pretty fun little mechanic. Because I was thinking, use secondaries with it, similar to how glaives and secondaries work right now, where you can have both out at the same time. But yeah, if you mount it on your back, take less damage from behind, I think that would actually be a cool mechanic for a Great Shield type of weapon. Plus, we can turn into what is it? The little Grineer shield guys that walk around and they're annoying. Poke around.
Yeah. The other side of it, so going back to the whole Excalibur side, not quite sure why this I feel that there's a mechanic here that they want to take advantage of with either great swords or swords and shield that just it's just like an extra added oomph that Excalibur could give to really potentially break those weapons. Does that make sense? That's the pessimism in.
Yeah, it does. I'm trying to think of broken as far as sword and shield weapons or great sword that can't be done in the game. As far as what a 10% speed boost would be. 'Cause I tend to run Galatine with what is that? Blood Rush.
Yeah.
And after some build up, I'm just swinging around like a lawnmower. But I don't know if there's really. I don't know. I'm just trying to think of how that much of a speed boost would break anything. I'm not doubting it. I'm just trying to think. But I don't know. Maybe it's something they would just want to stick with thematically as well. Maybe just keep. Hard to say.
Loz, as the resident Excalibur, how do you feel about do you like this passive? Do you want a different passive?
I like the passive. I think it's fine. It's not amazing, but it actually feels thematic. It's not like it's not amazing and super unique like Atlas's, which can't fall over the but it's not completely just apathetic towards it, such as Nova's farting. It just still doesn't make sense, I feel it doesn't. It's not going to break the game, but it does feel very thematic, and it does think I think it's fine personally. Expanding it to great swords, as I say, I wouldn't expand it as a sword and shields. Because he's exalted blade, not exalted shield. So I wouldn't want the sword and shield. Yeah, like the act of taking, it's almost like the theme of Excalibur is the point that he has the sword and the sword loan, whatever, and all the classical stuff. The footage used to have Excalibur just with a scarner, before the exalted blade happened. It never was. I know, because there was no shield back then, but that's not how they designed it. It was almost like that the Excalibur. Oh god, I fell at words. For shrew, ignored the defense. It was just like the sword to get the job done. It was the freedom of that. It wasn't weighed down by the shield, so I don't want the shield side of thing. The bigger swords, I think it would be fun, but I don't really mind not having it. I'd rather see a frame which focused primarily on all heavy weapons, that kind of thing. Make a niche for that. I think it's fine. I mean, it's already a massive pool of things. It's like I don't know how many weapons it is, but it's ridiculous. It's just, what were we got? Single swords, double swords, or dual swords, nakanas.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, rapiers. That's it. He's got his exalted blade as well, which is
an exalted blade. Yeah. I just feel that's enough weapons.
And the more you describe it, the more I do kind of. The more I'm starting to agree with you as far as the not having it on a shield weapon. Yeah, like you said, Excalibur is the Warframe that's focused on swordsmanship, and so having the shield on there, like you were saying, he's not the sword and shield frame; he's a sword frame, obviously named after a sword. But and I do see that maybe it shouldn't apply to heavy swords or great swords or whatever. But I do think that it would be cool to add it to maybe two-handed. Because that has kind of the quick two-handed sword to it. Yeah. So, no, the more I listen to you describe it, the more I'm starting to agree with you there.
I'll tell you what's missing off of here, though.
What?
Arcwing swords.
I wouldn't say no to that. Just give us some Arcwing melee love.
The most weakest thing in the game, Arcwing melee. Why does it exist? Oh, dear.
Okay. Part of me wonders, I want to ask you guys, are there any other passives that you feel really stand out in the game that you would want to see redone? But a part of me also feels should we do the replies first?
Let's do the replies first. Let's stay on the Excalibur stuff.
Okay, let's stay on Excalibur. Replies first.
There's only 4 here. So first of all, I completely agree, especially when you look at the numbers. There are only 5 weapons classified as sword and shield weapons. Only 12 heavy blade weapons, this being what Warframe calls greatswords. Of these, 5 of them are prime variants, so it's not like you'd really be adding that much to the passive regardless. I don't like that argument. There's not that... it's a little bit more, just add it in. It's no. It ruins the... you were saying about the way Prime was describing it there. It was almost about Excalibur. It almost made me think that what was in their mind when they designed Excalibur, and it does kind of go back to almost... I know it's ninjas in space, but it's almost a samurai. Now, samurai and the feudal Japan, they did have shields, but when you say the word samurai in everyone's mind, is the samurai holding a shield? Primed?
Oh, nope, they're not.
No, they're just...
Sorry, I didn't pick me up.
And it's also the other way that I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, internet, but the way the samurai also looked at it is that the sword was their soul. It was them, that was part of them. It became their soul was their weapon. And so by Excalibur, it's just what way? I know you can do dual swords, but it just ruins something by going, and the shield! So I can't get behind it. The next reply.
Yeah, I agree with...
Oh, you go.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
I was just going to say, I agree with that as well. Whenever you think of samurai, you think of them in a big old katana or sword. I honestly can't even think of any artwork I've seen with a samurai with a shield. I'm sure it exists, but it's not iconic to him. But no, I agree with you there. 100%.
Agree with sword plus shield, but in my experience, two-handed swords are different enough from one-handed that the skill set doesn't really transfer. They look superficially similar, but they handle completely different. They handle like completely different weapons. I
don't know. A part of me feels I kind of wish I could understand more of a reason. Why do they want these additional weapons specifically for Excalibur? Nothing stops them from taking the sword and shield and greatsword while using Excalibur.
I want more.
But is it just a case of but I want more, right? I don't know if there are any any warframes that give benefits to other melee-based weapons or because obviously Mesa, she gives benefits to your primary weapon depending on what your primary weapon is. Yeah. Right. So
Sure.
I don't know if there's just there's this tiny little gap in the coverage, which is sword and shields and greatsword. Right. I don't know if that's what this individual's trying to pick up, but at the same time, I just wish that there was a more of an understanding as to I quickly jump on the topic. I imagine Loz already has. Is there any detail that? Nope, there's no detail.
No, there's no more detail. No, I just had a quick few because, to be honest, I can't remember every Warframe's passive. But I was trying to think, fist weapons, maybe Atlas or Brooke. Nope. Valkyr. Nope. I can't really think of any other melee weapons that.
I would have thought Valkyr would have been claws.
You would have thought, yeah. Or Gara, maybe I have to check Gara. No, Valkyr's passive. Able to recover from knockdowns 50% faster and immune to hard landings. Landing with yeah, that's it. Really? Okay. Maybe Gara. Literally, if you held the Gundam head, I wouldn't remember Valkyr's passive.
Isn't Garuda's passive
Garuda, sorry, that's what I was looking for.
And she's unarmed.
Yes, that might be. But yeah, but so it's not a buff, is it, really?
No.
Passive. 30s, alternative. Wait, what? Oh, passive. Death gates. Rank bonuses.
Oh, wait, no, this is her energy consume thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Consume health for energy, that was her passive. Oh, wait, no, that's one of her abilities.
It's 3. There's Death's Gate, Garuda's Talons, and rank bonuses. So, yeah. But none of them is bonus damage to the weapon. That probably is something. Maybe Wukong and Styx. Let's have a quick look. Nope.
Nope. Okay, well.
I know there's something, I just can't remember it, but yeah.
Next reply?
Yep, sure. I agree when it comes to sword and shields. Personally, though, heavy blades should be another frame's field of expertise, along with heavy axes and hammers, like Rhino or Hildren. That sounds more like them. Then even other weapons like scythes and serpers would do well with a category of their own.
Serpers? Serpers?
Serpers?
What is a serper?
Yes. Prime, do you know what
Are they talking about the gum?
Good question.
Sarpa? Sarpa. They're thinking of the gunblade.
Maybe they mean gun. They're talking gunblade.
I was wondering if they were.
They have put Serpa into the Sarpa.
I wonder if that's autocorrect because they were on their phone or something.
Maybe. And the last reply is, rapiers are swords too, although I remember from somewhere that the slogan for Excalibur is mastery of gun and blade. Won't that mean it needs to at least the traditional ones? I don't remember that for Excalibur. That just feels like a generic tagline for Warframes in general, master of gun and blade.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was his just generic. I wouldn't be surprised that's not in the game anymore.
Yeah. Right, well, that's it for the replies. So, do you want to ask about other passives?
Yeah, so what other passives would you like to see reworked? I mean, if you have any questions about what Warframe has what passive, or I can quickly bring it up and just read it off.
Well, maybe I was going to say I may be a bit biased here, but I think Rhinos could definitely use some tender love and care because he's got a little shockwave when he lands. That's it. Which sometimes knocks enemies down, but that's all he's got going for him. Same with Mag. I think she has just essentially vacuum.
Oh yeah, while she bullet jumps, she has a vacuum.
Yeah. So I do think that at least those two, I'm not familiar with all frames passives, but compared to something like who's Neja, Wukong, where it's like, oh, you can live 3 times past fatal damage, get a little buff every time, a random little buff every time, before you finally go down, kind of thing. I've seen the memes that people make about it all the time. Oh, I'm trying to pull up the wiki here as well.
Yeah,
unless they changed it, but
I gotta be honest, like one of the ones that I would really like to see redone is Loki's.
What is it?
Loki's wall latch duration is 10 times longer than normal, up to a maximum of 60 seconds. Wait, hold on, I gotta hold on to this wall. Gotta keep it upright.
Yep.
One of my friends tricked me with that really good a while back. I was playing with her. Like, hey, come find me. I'm looking around. Where are you at? Look up. She's latched onto a wall for about a minute.
Oh my god.
I didn't even expect her there. But yeah, I totally agree that he could definitely use it, because people don't really wall latch that much. I mean, you can a little bit. I usually almost just accidentally wall latching when aim gliding, but next to a wall more than anything. But I agree that not really going to need, unless a Riven calls for it, wall latching for get so many kills while wall latching, that kind of thing.
But there's already a mod.
Yeah. Mod for it. Same with Rhino's passive. That
Yeah, exactly. I think
is vacuum.
Yeah, just repeating a mod onto a Warframe is just so lazy.
That's it. And I know that these are older Warframes that are a bit outdated passives, but as far as those 4 frames so far, I think they could definitely use the passives.
Necros. A Master of Death, Necros regenerates 5 points of health anytime an enemy dies within 10. Passive also can hit minions.
Quite short.
Maybe expend the range a little bit, but I play Necros a lot as well. Killing people close by with melee tends to keep them add to survivability quite a bit. Not the worst,
Okay,
but it could use some maybe some slight updates.
The worst, by the way, has got to be Nova. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was Novas.
she falls over and farts.
When Nova is knocked down,
he has uncontrollable flatulence.
he emits a neutron burst, which knocks down and damages enemies within a 6-meter radius. Oh god, that's so tiny. And deals 250 blast damage. Knockdown and radius are not affected. Mild self-stagger knockdown will also.
Alright, I need to be in a child right now. That's Nova for you right there. Like, it's like
having a passive which assumes either you screwed up and got yourself knocked down, or just through some stupid method of your own failing, you got knocked down, so a thing happens, is just so wrong. Just no.
I think Embers is one that can also do with a rework. Reveling in the heat of combat, Ember gains 5% extra ability strength for every enemy burning. No, that was the rework one. That was fine, wasn't it? The original one was the environmental one. What? What's Frost? Any melee assailant that strikes Frost has a 10% chance to be temporarily frozen 20 seconds on impact.
That's pretty weak.
Yeah, it's not the worst, but it could definitely use some
I think just the chance, let's say 50%. I mean, there's already diminishing returns on that stun that it'll cause anyway. Like, so, and you have to be meleeed by it, not shot. You don't have to be meleeed by something. Seems a bit ridiculous for a 10.
Out of interest, do you know what Chroma's is?
No.
Oh, didn't they?
No, wait, no. It was the color to the flame.
Well, that used to be it, but they just changed it. Didn't they give him a third jump?
Yeah.
Or a third air jump.
An extra, yeah, he has a extra jump and bullet jump. Mid-air jump. Yeah.
The worst one. I mean,
I should play around with it.
Or especially with Warframe's movement, it works pretty well.
Yeah. I've got to, like, you know, I'm interested to hear what the community or our listeners have to say, but like, just Novas and Lokis
And Rhinos. There we go. Top 3.
There you go. Top 3.
Top 3.
Right. Okay, so shall we now move on to the next topic? Cool. Well, no, before you do that. Come on. Right. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. This is the end of this topic. Please like, comment, subscribe. If you want to check out more of this episode, you can go into the description below where you'll find a link to the main episode, and you can check out more about Primed Average. We currently have on with us now, and what's called Loz. Feel free to comment. Loz will read every single comment. I feel I'm missing something entirely.
No, it feels good.
Oh, the main episode is also like time indexed and everything. So if you listen to this episode, this topic episode, you want to skip to the next topic, you can just click on the links in the description. Cool. Right. Let's move on to the second topic.